Who am I? This is a question we've all asked ourselves before. For example, hi, my name is Justin. I'm an Avenue senior. I've always thought that to be a strange way of introducing myself. Now let's try this. Hi, my name is Justin. I'm an avid Kanye listener. And I was bopping Power by Kanye before this, by the way. Or, hi, my name is Justin. I'm a basketball player. Much better, right? Now take a look at this. This is a picture of me and my brother at Disney. And this is me at 5. I'm on the right. And at the time, I would associate myself with my interests. Hi, my name is Justin. I enjoy scribbling on white walls. Or, hi, my name is Justin. I enjoy bothering my mom as I tugged on her shirt. However, I noticed as I grew older that my introductions became more and more vague. It went from, hi, my name is Justin. I enjoy scribbling on white walls to, hi, my name is Justin, and I play basketball to, hi, my name is Justin. I'm an Avenue senior. See the difference? See the difference? Well, this is social identity. The various traits, aspects, or even embarrassing story that make us who we are. And for me, my social identity revolved around three primary factors. Family, academics, and of course, social media. Now, in order to understand who is Justin Lee, I had to understand my family, my foundation of how I was brought up. And to understand this, I have to tell the story of my parents. And now, my parents came from a tiny village in Xiaoao, Fuzhou, which is just across Taiwan. And there was little help from the system at the time, which prompted their move to the United States. And as time passed, they managed to raise a wonderful family here in the States. And they managed to build up their business to something that was very successful. And these were the aspects they took to their parenting. And my parents will always teach me that you can always persevere through anything if you don't give up. And you could accomplish any challenge with perfect execution if you take your time and think. However, as I grew older, I noticed that these traits became more and more toxic. The first instance I noticed was in piano. When my mom booked me up for piano, there was no way I could have been the next Mozart or Beethoven. But I had an interest in piano. However, I noticed that as I began to practice more and more and began to compete in more and more competitions, I noticed that my parents had this social expectation on me when it came to piano. And now, I'm not saying I dislike my parents for booking up piano. It was just this overwhelming amount of social pressure that was put upon me that made me hate piano and created a divide between me and my parents. And even a TEDx like this would be impossible for me, as I noticed there were changes not only in my introduction, but within myself as well. And the changes won't occur not just by the shaking of a leg or the quivering of a voice, and I would sweat profusely. And so I had to lean on my second pillar, which was academics. And for me, academics was a game. Every time I scored high, I felt good. I did well. But it became this game of snakes and ladders, where every time I succeeded, I would climb up that ladder, but every time I failed, I would tumble down that very same ladder. And I'm not just saying this because that was the environment I grew up in, but I noticed this amongst a lot of students. And according to a study done by NYU Stern, 50% of high school students felt this overwhelming amount of stress, while 40% had this overwhelming feeling of doom. And now, looking at that, I decided to look more into my own social identity. Why was it that my grind culture or my grind hustle was so wrong? And so me and my friend Daniel, shout out Daniel, looked at this commonality amongst elementary school students. And this was the most shocking. Beyond the dreams of running big businesses and driving Ferraris and building up 100-story mansions, we noticed that there was a commonality in all of these. It was colleges. All these kids, all these elementary school students wanted to go to Harvard, Princeton, Columbia, all these big colleges. And this shouldn't be happening with elementary school students. Elementary school students should have fun, like I did when I was young, waving hi to strangers and scribbling on walls sometimes. And we all should have fun. And so we need to change the way we educate our elementary school students. And we need to create a system where we can all have more fun. And the final pillar I'll talk about today is social media. We all know social media. We've all heard the statistics. According to a University of Michigan study, kids ages 7 through 9 have problems with their iPhones, iPads, etc. We've all heard this before. This isn't anything new amongst our class or high schoolers. However, what am I doing here to tell you guys this? After all, I'm just a kid that's just addicted like everyone else. I'm not a social scientist. I'm not a professional. But the problem is that I noticed these commonalities amongst my young cousin. And my cousin is 10 years old. His name is Joey. And during the pandemic, I found it hard to even have a face-to-face conversation with him. And that to me was scary. The fact that we were already having a conversation through Zoom, which was already online, but we couldn't talk to each other because he was obsessed with his iPad. And so I thought I had to take action. There was something I must do to pull him out and have just as much fun as I did when I was 5. And so I flew to Houston when I saw him, and I gave him my little own TED Talk. And I told him, besides the expectations and social media, let me show you how to really have fun. And we played football that day. And that will forever be in my mind. It'll be a core memory for me. And now, I'm not saying all these 3 aspects of social identity are bad. I'm saying there needs to be a balance. In Chinese, there's a common saying that goes, 不怕慢就怕停, which means don't be afraid of going slow. Just never stop. And this is a phrase that my parents would say to me often whenever I'm rushing my assignments or whenever I'm rushing to do my chores because I don't want to do them. But this is a phrase we should all take to heart. We could improve upon our various aspects of social identity if we take our time and if we just don't stop and we do it slowly. And now, today, I come to you all with a new dream. I want to live my life to the fullest. That is what I want my social identity to be. And this is a question for the audience. Is what you're doing with your social identity truly what you want? Or someone else put that idea in there? And if the last thing I want everyone to take away from my TED Talk, it is to live your life and break through this looking glass of social identity. Thank you.